Trigger warning. This podcast contains discussions about abuse, domestic violence, and intimate partner violence. Listener discretion is advised. What you are about to hear is a true story. My story. This podcast is about me, my abusive marriage, my fight for my life, and eventual daring escape from my ex-husband and his enabling family. My name is Bebe, and I am the authenticity warrior. My discernment about what I am facing has made me a target, but I must nonetheless speak up. Hello everyone, it's Bebe and Toro, and we're back.
Yes, we're here again, continuing this sagacious tale. I'm not even sure what theme, if we really established a theme the last time, but we covered a lot of information. So the last thing that you spoke about to some degree was this extended interaction that you had with Paulinus's father and mother at their residence.
Yeah, to be honest, first of all, the way you're saying that, Paulinus, you need to get Raza because I think I was very clear on episode 1. Like, it's Paulinus, okay?
Paulinus.
All the same. Don't even do any of that. Paulinus, please. But yeah, we did get into that towards the tail end, if my memory serves me correctly, where I spoke about how he threatened to take my children away from me and all of that. And for me, I think I just haven't gotten into the emotions of what that felt like, hearing this man say those words to me, threaten me, call my mother into it, talk about how he's going to fight even my mother. Because, of course, knowing her position, he was being very clear that this is not just some one-on-one kind of thing. Like, he's going to use his entire being, his entire influence to fight me or even my family, should they even try to even help me out in this situation. And so for me, I found it very reprehensible. I was very disgusted. And I can never forgive that. I can never. And
was it jarring for you? Did it seem out of left field? Did it seem kind of in theme?
It was very, to be honest, the way my relationship was set up with this man, it was very left field. However, in the time that I was talking to this man, my eyes were completely clear at this point in time on the nature of the problem I was dealing with. I was dealing with not just an abusive man in the person of my ex, but I saw how finally the scales kind of fell, and I saw how his family had been enabling his behavior over the years. And if I'm being very honest, all his life, but I don't care about that. I only care about when I entered into the equation. And so I see how his family had been enabling and trying to cover his behavior towards me over the years. So in this point in time, when I'm sitting down and I'm talking to this man, I can see right through him and the bullshit. So hearing him levy those threats against me, I saw it clearly for what it was. Yes, it was left field because we have never had that kind of interaction before, but it clicked, it made sense, it fell into place. And so for me, where I'll tell you where my heart broke was that I was just like, damn. At times where things got so bad with this Paulinus, what made me stay longer than I know I should, I shouldn't have stayed as long as I did, was because of his family. I actually genuinely loved these people. I genuinely cared about these people. And to imagine that all of that was actually futile, that these people did not even deserve any of that goodness that I tried to put onto them, any of that care and concern that, hey, like this man is intolerable. Everybody knows this. Right. Everybody knows about his raging anger issues. Everybody knows about his abusive behavior. But his family, they seem to present as just, they too are also victims. They too are also trying to manage and bend around this man and his ogreish behavior. So I felt like we were allies in that sense that, we understand the nature of the problem that we're dealing with. Help me, me too, I will help you. I scratch your back, you scratch my back. We cover each other. We just...
But that didn't turn out to be the case. They kind of sold you out.
No. I realized how quickly these people threw me right under that bus, and they were ready to align with this man that they know fully well. Like, they know him. And that is what just even pained me the most. So I didn't want to belabor the point, because honestly and truly, as I sit here today talking to you, they are not worth it. They are not worth any of this, any of the love that I ever tried to give to them, any of the care. They are absolutely not worth it. And so I won't waste my breath. But that honestly was the most painful part. The threats, yes, were ridiculous, disgusting, and unforgivable. But for me, it was the time and the years that I spent holding on to a situation that was destructive to me, just because I did not want to inflict unnecessary pain on his family. And seeing how they were so undeserving of it, honestly, that's what hurt the most, if I'm being very honest.
That's profound. And again, something that is quite common, that you hear over and over and over again from women in similarly abusive situations. So that 4-hour interrogation was, the straw that broke the camel's back, in a sense, with whatever you were holding on to with regard to your ex's family.
I mean, if I'm being very honest, like I already mentioned before, the conversation that I had with Paulinus himself, he already made it clear. This man is not, there's something going on with this man. And if I stay around this man, this thing will suck me in and it will destroy me. I saw the way he was already setting up. I'm like, this guy's not okay. He's really not okay. And honestly, I really, truly believe, if anybody asks me, this guy needs help. But that's his concern, whether he gets the help or not. But I still felt like the pieces weren't totally broken. My relationship with this man is done, but I felt my relationship with the family could still kind of continue. I would still value us moving forward in a different kind of light. My children, I would want to maintain that contact, that pull to both his family and definitely to mine. But the way they came at me and the way he threatened me that day, and again, bear in mind, I was still afraid to leave this man. I was very afraid. I was very scared. I didn't think I could do it. And I almost told these people that, look, I need to leave this man. So, but hearing his threats is actually what gave me strength. I said, look, even if I die trying to leave this man, I have to do it. I am compelled, because there's nobody here to save me. Bear in mind again, I hadn't told any of you guys much of what this man had been doing to me, what his family had been covering. My own parents didn't know anything. And I had kept it that way because I felt his own parents would be a protective covering for me. Oh my goodness, it was so disappointing hearing how they lied, how they threw me under the bus, how they pretended like I was just some crazy person making up stories. Oh no, I was just, that floored me.
So the point I was driving at was that if you had any doubts prior to that meeting, or if you were still trying to lean one way or the other after that meeting, you knew that, okay, this is it. I'm definitely making this attempt, whatever, come hell or high water, and I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So traveling all the way from Nigeria to Canada, almost on what seems like a whim, with 3 toddlers and an infant under 4 and under. How was that? Just leading up to leaving, and then leaving itself, given all the different, even sort of infrastructural barriers.
I understand everything you're saying, and
right.
like I will answer it as clearly as I can. And I'm not trying to be mysterious here and be like, it was God, and just for the sake of just having some sort of blanket statement. But Toro, when I tell you it is God, my exit out of this abusive marriage, out of the clutches of this man as far away as possible, landing in Canada the way that I did was divine. As soon as I left this meeting, this 4-hour interrogation with his parents, I received a call from a friend that I hadn't spoken to in a I have not spoken to this person in a very long time. This person is unknown to my family. This person is unknown to Paulinus and anybody connected to Paulinus. And this person called me out of the blue. And they called me on a completely a benign issue. And I had already been ruminating in my mind, how am I going to leave this country? Who is going to help me? How will I get to the airport? How will I handle 3 children? We all know how chaotic the airport is in Nigeria. In my head, my brain was just cracking. And then something just said, so as she was talking to me, telling me just something random or whatever, I didn't even know why she called me. She was just even saying she didn't even know why she called me, all that. We even wrapped up the call. She hung up. Something just said I should call her back and tell her. I called her. I gave the briefest summary I could possibly give on me exiting an abusive marriage. And she listened. And the first thing she said was, I am proud of you. My goodness, I could have collapsed into the ground because I was expecting her to be like, look, man, like I hear you and everything, but this sounds like a chaotic situation.
Right.
Like I don't even want to be involved. Like I wish you all the best, but this is a big ask. Like I said, I hadn't spoken to her in a very long time. We're not even close. Like she doesn't really know anything. And she said, we go run her. Hey, God. I was just like, this is God. This is God. Like it was just crazy. She was like, don't worry. We go run her. I know some people in the airport. This is going to be a VIP experience for you. Don't worry. And that was a true to her word. This girl helped me all the way through. And she did not leave that airport until we got to our boarding gate. That's when she left. I was floored. So that's divine intervention number 1. There was no reason for her to call me. And there was no reason for her to help me. But she did. And she saw my exit out of this country perfectly. The second intervention, because this was, I had just, this friend that I spoke to, this was just the day before the exit. So the following day, she showed up and she helped me. From that meeting, that interrogation, these people had orchestrated to send Paulinus's younger sister, who we will refer to as Junior Pepe. He has an older sister. That one is Senior Pepe, but that one is a completely, where I would table that one's matter is on a completely different episode. But this Junior Pepe, who I was very close to, like I took this girl as my sister because I just felt for her. A lot of the time, she had gone through really tough times, especially with her family. I felt like she was scapegoated a lot unnecessarily. So I used to always align with her and just affirm her and just let her know that I was there for her. And that
so this is your sister-in-law who's younger than you.
Yeah, I just wanted her to know that I saw her and I understood her, which I did. And I still do to this day. But I just have to remove myself from her because I see she's in a dangerous place and I cannot be associated with that anymore. But bottom line, Senior Paulinus and Paulinus's mom had sent for this girl from Abuja that she should come and stay in my house on Friday. This was the day that I was leaving Nigeria. But I guess the uneasiness about the meeting that I had with them on Thursday, this girl was coming from Abuja that Friday to come to my house. Because again, I was mom, I didn't tell them anything. But they need to, abusers now and there are people and they are enablers. They can tell when something is about to go down.
This was a monitoring exercise.
Exactly. This was a monitoring. Again, the man had already laced the whole house with CCTV cameras.
Right.
So this girl was coming from Abuja. And I did not know what to do. I wasn't sure how I would be able to explain why I wasn't in the house or whatever. I'd already shared that I would be at my parents for the weekend or whatever, but she was supposed to meet me at the house first before exiting. And I knew that upon her getting to the house, she would probably see that things have been backed up. So I wasn't sure how I was going to navigate that. Anyway, I call her that Friday and she says, oh, she was on her way to the airport to catch her flight, but her car just spontaneously stopped working, overheated, and just stopped in the middle of the road. Me, I was shocked. I said, has your car been having issues? She said, no, the car's been working fine. That honestly, she can't explain it. The car just stopped right there in the middle of the road. She couldn't get to the airport. By the time she got to the airport, she had already missed her flight. She could not catch any other flight until the following day. As she was telling me this one, I was on my way to go and pick up all my luggage and head straight to the airport where she was telling me this thing. And I smiled. I said, this is God. This is God. Like, what are the odds, really? Because if this girl had landed at the time she was supposed to land, I would have not been in the house, but I still would not have left Nigeria. She could have blown the cover on all of this before I even got a chance to leave. If she had, for some reason, caught a later flight that day, I may still be in transit, and then I may be stuck in transit. Who knows, right? What these people could have done to like
thwart.
Exactly. So the biggest smile in my head, I think I even said it out loud. I said, God is here. God is with me. Absolutely nothing is stopping me from getting to Canada, because again, my fear was I would not even be able to leave this country. So as soon as that happened, my heart was at peace. I said, there's no way, this plan is not going to fail. I'm going to exit this country. I'm going to leave. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Wow. That's wild. So you chose to take those two incidences as, I guess, signs for yourself as well, just to
I highlight those two because I remember pausing in the middle of them as it was happening. I was like, God, is this you? Should I really believe that this is you? This is a sign from you. Should I? I remember those two incidences, but honestly, every step of the way, so much help, so many signs that God is here, God is with me, and this plan will not fail. Because again, for people that travel in and out of Nigeria, you already know there are so many things that could have gone wrong with my plan. Some customs officer would go, hey, you, like, what am I supposed to do with 3 children? Like, there's just so much that could have happened to either have blown the cover and all of this, made my exit so chaotic. But honestly, stress-free, the most stress-free movement out of the country.
Well, I mean, stress-free in one sense, but
stress-free in one sense,
still filled with stress in another sense. How was it, just the physical practicality, the logistics of doing this international journey with I don't know how long of a transit, how long of a stopover is it in Europe?
I think I stopped over for about 6 hours.
Right. So
yeah, let me tell you, the actual journey, the physicality, I'm not going to lie to you, it is not for the weak. Aside from the fact that I had all this divine intervention helping me, without any of that, I can understand why a lot of people will just give up, because you have to surmount something almost impossible for you to make a clean escape the way that I did. But even that did not take away the burden on my body. Let's not forget, I had just had a baby. My body is still recovering from that. I am breastfeeding on demand. No formula, no anything. I have 2 children who were 4 and 3 at the time.
2, actually, no?
Exactly 4 and 2, because my son had not even turned 3. He turned 3 in the following month. So 4 and 2 at the time. That was wild. At some point in Amsterdam, guys, I had my one breast out because I had started breastfeeding my baby when my 2-year-old started shouting, I need to poo. He started shouting that he needed to poo. And the way he was shaking, I said, my goodness, I cannot. It's not me that is going to be caught out here, poo on the floor, like... have to clean that up. Then it requires a whole outfit change. Like, it's going to be a hot mess. So, and I'm the only one. I have all this hand luggage that I'm pushing. I just started breastfeeding my infant. So I was breastfeeding as I was pushing our luggage cart, as I was leading my son to the toilet to go number 2, as I was trying to beg my oldest son to follow us, because that's the time that one decided that he was tired of walking. Hey, we looked like a circus. As I was leading all 3 of us like this, I was shouting, that one should follow me. I was pushing the luggage. I was saying, you don't pour your body or don't even try it. I swear, and that one was still breastfeeding, doing as if he did not, like it didn't concern him whatever was going on, as long as his own milk is flowing. And that's how we made it all the way to the toilet. I had to, like, no, it was crazy. We look crazy. We look crazy. I think some people were pitying me because at some points I noticed that lots of people will help, especially when we even got to the plane. You know, people would be like, oh, just let me know if you need to get anything from your overhead luggage or anything. People were so helpful. Once people saw me and they felt I needed help, people offered up that help. But yeah, it's a lot on your body. It's a lot on your mental health, trying to settle everyone, trying to attend to everyone. And again, I told you I'm breastfeeding on demand. I am heavily sleep deprived. I had just landed in the country 10 days before. My body's yet to reset from, you know, what do you call it, the jet lag, the everything. I'm still recovering from my pregnancy. And then now I have 3 children that I am taking care of alone, round the clock. This one wants to eat. This one doesn't want to eat. This one wants to sleep. This one doesn't want to sleep. This one wants to watch something. From Lagos all the way to Edmonton, I was just playing defense. I was attending to one child or the other. At no point did I have any rest, which is why by the time I got to Edmonton, you saw, I just, first of all, crashed. Once I saw that you handled the children, the first thing I went to do was just to go and sleep, because I had literally not slept in like 48 hours. That was wild.
So, I mean...
So for any woman that needs to make a great escape like that, you have to just settle it in your mind right now, Gia. That journey is a lot. It's going to take a lot out of you, but you have to be ready, and you have to get to that point of, it is better that I leave now, no matter how difficult it's going to be on me, than if I stay. Unless you get to that point where staying is
untenable.
Exactly.
Right.
This journey alone is enough to deter anybody.
Wow. That just sounds like something.
I got to the airport, guys. I was wearing kitos because my
I think you're gonna have to explain what kitos are. Sandals in short, I guess.
Yeah, sandals. I was wearing sandals, but this is very, very keto. Like, those ones that have Velcro.
With the Velcro.
That's what I was wearing. No socks in the dead of winter in Edmonton. That's how I landed, though. Because I had packed up my sneakers by mistake, and I had already checked it in. Socks, I could not even gather where I even put socks. That's how I landed. Thank God my sister was at the airport and she had all this winter gear for everybody, all the boys, for myself. If not, like, frostbites, just confronting with that one alone. Kitos in Edmonton. My God. That's how chaotic of an exit it was for me, honestly.
What an exit it was nonetheless.
Yeah.
And
we just thank God.
Getting out whole. That's really the important thing. So, right, I think we spoke a little bit already about you getting to mines and then settling down and then gathering enough together to then send out the email that we've kind of touched on, for which there's more content to come on that.
But yeah, we already read out the email on episode 1. it's pretty important that we read the email at least once on each episode, because it's important that everyone has the full context of what it is that we're talking about. And so here it goes now on this episode. To my ex. Today, I choose to dismantle a shame that is not and was never mine to carry by shattering my silence on the dynamic of our relationship. I have been severely mishandled, mistreated, devalued, and taken for granted over the entire course of our relationship and marriage. For almost 10 years, you have been a toxic and abusive partner in many horrifying ways. 1. Physical assault. 2. Sexual harassment, coercion, and continuous threats to pursue other sexual partners, and including your continued weaponization of infidelity. 3. Extended violent outbursts of extreme and scary rage and anger. 4. Relentless emotional manipulation and verbal abuse. 5. Bullying and intimidation as tactics of control. 6. Reckless and dangerous behavior as a means of punishment. For example, dangerous driving with the children and myself while in a rage. 7. Financial neglect. On several occasions, not even the presence of the children nor any of my visible pregnancies could deter your blind rage. And there was no effort on your part to model appropriate behavior, thereby terrifying and distressing the boys. At your hands, the boys and I have been in distinct life-threatening incidents, and your continued unchecked behavior has worn me out. In tolerating and accommodating all this, I became a person I no longer recognized. I will no longer allow myself and my children to be subject to a toxic and unhealthy environment and exposed to barbarous behavior. I am separating myself from you and this marriage. There is absolutely no room for reconciliation on this. I am done. So, yeah. We get to the house, you take over the children from me, and I just sleep because, my goodness.
Right, much
and
needed.
Then I wake up, construct the email, and send. Send to my ex, send to my family, send to his family, and wait for shit to hit the fan. And boy, did it do exactly that. But I knew that that was not all I needed to do. I didn't know much about the legal repercussions of what I had done. Now, as I'm talking to you, I know a lot more. And so I will just tell people that if you exit like that, there is a legal mess that you will also have to deal with. And you have to have the support of either family, or you yourself need to also have the financial backing to handle the legal mess that comes, especially if you're going to have a vindictive, abusive ex, which they often are. Hardly will an abuser actually let you go scot-free like that, because it's such a huge bruise to their ego. They're going to come after you hard, especially when there is some law that favors them. They will come after you hard. And that's what happened to me. But before even getting to all of that, I just knew, of course, my legal training that, okay, I probably should get a lawyer. So within like 2 days, I had scoured, gotten a lawyer that I felt very confident in.
And when you say legal training, sorry, you mean that you're a lawyer yourself?
Yes, I'm a lawyer myself. And of course, I went to school in Canada. I went to Osgood. So I just knew that I should probably get a lawyer, which I did, thank God. And we got to work immediately. Within a week, we had already submitted things, trying to put things together. And it was tough. And that's a journey that began almost as soon as I landed until now. I'm still in that journey. It's been almost a year later. I'm still on that legal path. I'm even lucky because, again, there's this thing that you guys need to be aware of. It's called the Hague Convention or whatever, and it's what stops.
So this is an international law. It's a
an
law
international
that involves
law.
more than one country.
Yeah, it's an international law that many countries have signed and adopted. Nigeria signed but never adopted it. Honestly, that has been my saving grace in all of this, which I was not even aware of. But thank God, because if a country has signed and adopted that law, the Hague Convention or something like that, Google it. That means if you ever leave, let's say you take your children and you leave to that country automatically has to send you and the children back to where you're coming from. There is no discussion about it. If your country has signed and has adopted that law. But of course, we all know how Nigeria is, the madness. Nigeria signed, but never adopted the law. So that is why I'm even able to use this legal vehicle now to actually try and get and to actually fight this thing through the courts. Hey guys, I just wanted to correct the error in this episode. Nigeria actually did not even sign the Hague Convention. I wrongly state that Nigeria signed but did not adopt it. Nigeria, in fact, did not sign the Hague Convention. And it is for that reason that I even had the path that I had when I was navigating the legal system in Canada. All right, guys, let's jump back into the episode. Because if Nigeria signed, Canada will not even hear anything I have to say. Yes, myself and my children are all Canadian citizens, but they would just send me and the children, package us back onto a plane, back to Nigeria. So guys, if this is something that you ever plan to do and you know your partner well, honestly, think very, very carefully. That Hague Convention, see the country that you are coming from, see if your country has signed and adopted that. And if they haven't, then you may, if you're able to escape, you may have recourse through the courts. But let me tell you, the standard is very high. The standard you have to meet is very high, and it is a very expensive process, which you may still end up losing and you may still be sent back. So honestly, my move, this thing that I've done is honestly and truly last resort. There is no other option for you. I hope you guys understand that, because this is crazy, especially if you don't have the support. If people are fighting against you, forget your ex. If your family doesn't even have your back, my goodness, this is a very lonely journey, a very difficult one, and an expensive one, and the success rates are low. So I'm still in the middle of mine, and I'm still believing, at least as we're recording this right now, I'm still in the middle, and I am just hoping and praying for a miracle. But I just thank God that because Nigeria didn't sign, I even have a chance to fight, which is what I came here to do anyway. I said, look, I'm going to fight like my life depends on it. These people will not take my children away from me. These people will not rewrite history, will not try and sanitize it and paint me as the villain, knowing fully well that I am not. These people will not get away with this evil act that they're trying to commit here. And so that's what I've come here to fight. And I am fighting it to the very end. To the very end. And until that is done, we're not taking any feet off the brakes here.
So it seems like it's important for you to get your voice out, or to not be silenced, and to get your perspective out and to set your truth straight, which is very commendable and courageous.
That's very true, honestly, Toro, because look, I'm speaking now, guys, not because I need to, but honestly and truly, I have to. I am compelled. It will be much easier for me to just pack this shit up, move on with my life, and just not ever talk about it again. But I am compelled. I can't stop talking. And I won't stop. So, and that's why we're here doing this podcast, because I need to get all this shit out. All this information needs to come out of my body. Everything that I've gone through needs to come out. And even then, I'm not sure if the talking will still end, but at least this is one path that I'm taking. But yeah.
We're going to go a little bit into the email now, this now notorious email that you composed and sent out upon your arrival in Edmonton. So, we've done a little bit of a primer as to how we're going to get into reactions to the email. So aside from the initial intense reactions within your own immediate family, what was the reaction, if any, or what was the outline of the events that happened with regard to your ex and in-laws? You had all of that blocked, right? Both email and on the phone and stuff.
Yeah, so with regards to Paulinus and his family, I can't even really say too much because, again, I wasn't there, thank God. I wasn't in the middle of that shit show. But I had blocked all of them because I was very clear in my email. Don't nobody call or message me until I'm ready to talk to you. So I had blocked everybody. But of course, I was in their family WhatsApp group on WhatsApp. Yeah, I was in their family WhatsApp group. But I had archived it because I didn't even want to see anything that was going to trigger me or make me upset. So I don't know too much about what was happening there, except for some of what my parents told me happened, of which, guys, I'm still working on it, but I'm going to try and get my parents to come on here and say their own point of view of everything that happened. So what I do know is that this man had called my parents. He did not tell them that he had gotten an email, and my parents too. You know how maybe they also had not even checked their email, but the way he had called them, all cowardly, like, is Bebe there? And they're like, no, she said she was coming, but she never came. So we just assumed that she would let us know. Maybe she was delayed or whatever. The guy was just like, because, she's not in the house. So he was just calling to find out if I'm there. So this coward did not tell them that he had received an email, or at least from what I recollect, he did not put them onto the fact that an email had been sent out.
Or that you had left the house.
Yeah, that he had received an email from me, because he did not know that I had copied all these people. He just knows that he did not tell them that he received an email and these were the content of the email he received. He just called acting all concerned that, he hasn't, by this time, I think he had come back from Port Harcourt, from where he went to the wedding. He had come back and I was not in the house. Is she there with you guys? And they were like, no, she's not here. She said she was coming, but she didn't end up coming. So we just assumed that there was a change of plans. But the way he was now speaking that, because she's not here, this one, that one. So he now put them in a panic. So they now became scared that, Abby, has somebody kidnapped her? Like, where is she, kind of thing? But he was such a coward. He didn't tell them about the email. So my parents were in a panic. And that's when they now began calling up my sisters and my brother. But the time difference, it was in the middle of the night here in Canada. So they were not reaching anybody. They were in a state like, our daughter, and she has left the house with 3 boys. Nobody knows anything, blah, blah, blah. Finally, we get a call. You and I, we get a call from my younger sister that is like, It's like mommy is onto us, so kind of thing, that she was trying to shake her down for information. And my mom, for people that know my mom is a master interrogator. Like, she can extract information from any goddamn person. So she had tried to shake my sister down, my younger sister down, but she was immovable because she wasn't sure if she should say anything just yet. So she had now called me and Toro that mommy is seeing red, and she needs that information now, that we should probably call her and everything. I think we said no, we're not ready to talk to anybody yet. Okay, right. Thing is still fresh. So we had kind of sent my younger sister to tell my mom that didn't she see an email? So can you remember? So that's when my mom now saw the email. We had sent my younger sister to tell her that she should go and check an email, that she should have received an email by now. So my mom now saw the email, and of course she wasn't pacified. She was even more concerned that, you mean what? This is all you've been enduring? And you did not say anything to anybody? Why didn't you come to my house? Blah, blah, blah. That was just her own angle, that where am I? But of course, I wasn't speaking to anybody. So this was just to my sister at that time. I think she had found a way to wake up my brother. Everybody was just in a state. And so at that point in time, finally, on getting to speak with Toro, we just calmed everybody down. That look, she's safe. The boys are well. And now everybody just needs to focus on how we move forward. How are we getting this man and or his family to come and give accounts on everything that has been in this email? So, of course, my parents have a stronger sense of peace that I'm well. Clear signs that, okay, I have not been kidnapped or anything of the sort. The things I've written in my email are alarming and worthy of concern. And of course, somebody in such a position will have no choice but to escape. So now let's get these people to give account. So this is where things took a very bizarre turn, in all honesty, Toro, if you remember.
So once our parents acknowledged receipt of the email, the expectation was then...
And then assurance that I was safe.
Yes. The expectation was then for your in-laws to make audience. And it seemed like, okay. I mean, culturally and traditionally, that's what's expected, that the families would come together and at least talk about what's on the table. But even getting around to that certainly became...
That's where things, like I said, took a very bizarre turn because, first of all, these people, on receiving an email, these people did not show up.
Nor even call.
They were just firing text messages to my parents that, where is she? We can't find out. Help us look for how this, that one, this one. And my parents were like, everybody slow your roll. Initially, yes, there was a bit of panic because we hadn't heard from her. We didn't know where she was. But now that we've heard from her, we still don't know where she is, but we've heard from her and we have gotten confirmation that she is safe. Let us table that matter of where she is to one side. The one that is on ground right now is this email detailing all manner of abuse: physical, sexual, psychological, emotional, financial, even dangerous driving. What is the problem? We need to hear from this Paulinus. What has he been doing to our daughter? These people did not call my parents. These people did not show up. You would think they will come running to the house that, hey, wow. Let's even say they were even innocent. An innocent person too will still run there and be like, hey, we don't know where all of this is coming from. Please just help us. Okay. Do you get? But their body language was just giving off guilty as charged. But the kind of disgusting guilty as charged where they now try and flip it. They are trying to, just think Trump. You're guilty as charged, but then you're still opening your yash in front of us to our faces, trying to slither your way out of it, trying to use, I don't even know, I don't know.
Just all sorts of
rubbish,
weird tactics just to avoid accountability. So
exactly, all sorts of tactics to avoid taking accountability. My parents were like, where are you guys? Why are you guys not in my house? Okay, they said they know that they have to go and pray first, that they will not be available to talk to my parents until December, that they have to go and pray, they have to go and fast. My parents say, pray and fast what? My daughter has left the house with 3 children and we have not heard from you. We have not heard what you have to say about the content of this email. You guys need to show up to our house with immediate effect. Then they pulled out another one that, they cannot come, that they have to go, and that because he's a titled chief in his village, he has to come with his Oba to the house. My parents are like, this is a family matter. This one doesn't concern your traditional title. That one, you can shove it wherever it is you want to shove it up. Okay, they probably didn't say that to me. I'm just adding my own jara inside here. But that one doesn't concern them, and we're not permitting any of that in our home. You guys need to come here, and we're limiting your number to 5. We're still in the middle of COVID. I don't want all manner of types of people in my home. My daughter is precious to me, and you need to come and give account. Then they said, no, they cannot just limit it to 5, that they have to go and get their family members from Ife. They have to go and get their family members from Ikiti so that they can all come and give an account. And my parents were like,
and
absolutely
then they demanded for a bigger venue or something like that.
Yeah. So my parents were like, no, our home is the way it is. We cannot accommodate all these people. They were like, that if the home is not big enough, then we should go and rent a venue so that they can come in their full numbers. My parents were like, just slow your roll and all of that. We are limiting your number to 5, okay? Pick as many, or the range that you want to use to pick your 5, pick it, but we need you guys here on Sunday. Then they push back and say, hey, Sunday doesn't work for them, that it has to be a Monday. We're like, okay, fine, come on a Monday.
Didn't they initially try to do it in December? Like,
that's why I said
a whole month.
They tried to do it in December. My parents were like, absolutely not, with immediate effect. And even in all of this, when did they end up coming? November 29th. This is still at least 9 days later is when they finally were dragged by their pubes and their ears to a meeting in my parents' house to come and now give an account. And of course, does it end there with this kind of abusive, antagonistic family dynamics? Absolutely not. They get there and it's just a disrespectful, hot shit kind of messy situation.
Within these 9-10 days before they finally made audience, even though you had blocked most of them, there were still some, I guess, correspondences that trickled in initially. So did you not receive a couple of emails from him?
I had blocked everybody, including him. But I don't even know what happened with the feature on Gmail. And again, this is just God. Because I had blocked him. I wasn't expecting to receive any emails from him. All of a sudden, I started receiving emails. And the nature of the emails were, my goodness. First of all, he tried to construct, and I could tell he was copying people in his emails. He's tried to construct the emails as if he doesn't understand where any of this is coming from, or as if I had just had some sort of mental breakdown. That he's just some hapless victim in all of this. He tried to comport himself as this respectable person that is just, he doesn't know why his wife is behaving like this kind of thing. Of course, I kept on ignoring. Whatever it is he had to say, I didn't care. So then the email started taking a different turn. They started escalating. Then it started turning into gaslighting emails. First of all, he started, first of all, it was like some blanket denial, like he didn't know what was happening. Then it shifted into, he now started to beg me that please, at least let him see the children. He started trying to emotionally manipulate me. Children that in all the years that we were there together, did this man ever truly care about these children? Baby that I was trying to get this man to carry in the 10 days that I was there, that he refused. He's very distant from them. He's not hands-on with them. So all of a sudden, he's now started to paint himself as this kind of concerned father, that his children and his life, he can't live, he can't breathe without them. I continue to ignore.
And then even the stance of acting as if he didn't know what was going on, like this was all just such a blindside for him.
Exactly.
You had a conversation with him a couple of days earlier about wanting to.
So he was, and that's what I mean in terms of blanket denials, the way he acted like this is just completely from nowhere, as if in his mind he has been in a loving and beautiful marriage and this is all from nowhere. He's trying to act like it wasn't just him that I spoke to literally 4 days ago saying we need to separate, and him literally going off the rails, raging at me, acting like his body language was like this man wanted to do something to me right then and there in the room as I was breastfeeding my infant. So for him to not take this turn as if he doesn't know what all of this is all about. But of course, we see the graduation from that to the emotional manipulation. Then he moved on to threatening emails. Like, this man started to say some things to me, started to talk about his past.
Alter egos.
His alter ego, that I know what he's capable of, and that he's a prince of many worlds. And I should remember that till the death, and this and that, and this and that. And all of these emails, I was just like, forward, send to my lawyer. Because me, I did not know what to do with all these emails. Thank God I even got them. Thank God that the block feature or whatever just lifted, because I wouldn't have even had any of these emails to be able to even show that, look, this guy is really, really unhinged. So let's leave all of that one for now. But bottom line, I received emails from him that moved from blanket denials to pretty much threatening me. Then I started to get emails from his sister, which we will now term that one as Senior Bebe. And guys, honestly, don't ask me how I came about these names, but they are, trust me when I tell you that they are.
I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, trust me when I tell you that these names are fitting. Okay? This Senior Pepe now was sending me emails, all manner of types, useless, ridiculous, gaslighting emails, trying to act like I'm the villain here and I'm victimizing them. And even still trying to scold me on top. Telling me that I'm insensitive. Why did I send such an email? And this one and that one. And all this rubbish, of which, honestly, I really don't give two about what that one has to say. I really don't. So, but again, that include me into the body language of his family. That these are people that I really thought they would be allies here. And again, it's not that I'm naive to think that, they will ever choose their son over me. But I actually just assumed that level heads will prevail here and be like, okay, look, guys, let us just say the truth to ourselves here. It is true that really and truly, really is a piece of shit. Like, let's not lie to ourselves. And honestly, I really do appreciate families that are able to look at their children and say the truth about them. Honestly, it is a gift because right? So, but I just assumed that, okay, you can no longer tolerate this man, Abi. Okay, no problem. Let us move forward still as some sort of family, right? I still have a vested interest in my grandchildren, in my nephews, okay? Let's figure out how we can move forward as a family. That's the approach I was honestly expecting. But time and time again, the continued disappointment, the antagonism, the trying to paint me as some sort of delusional, deranged, lying person that is having a mental breakdown is what I just can never forgive about this family. So his sister, Senior Pepe, took that same approach, that she left everything that I read in my email. She herself, that she knows personally how this man physically assaulted me, how this man abused me in my marriage. This is someone that was
of specific incidents.
Yeah, she knew specifics about incidents 2 years prior. She left all of that and started to focus on, all these stupid people that something happens, someone does something that is reprehensible. Rather than focus on that reprehensible act, you're then focusing on the victim and how the victim reacted to the reprehensible act. Is that what we're talking about here? So her own emails were coming at me for me and, why did I have to escape? Why did I have to do it like that? Why did I have to send an email? Why did I have to talk about it? She did not leave. She left everything that her brother had been doing to me and focused on my own reactions there. So that's why I just knew that this one is a brick wall. There's nothing to say to this one. Get out of my face, in all honesty. So that just, again, like I said, clued me in that I knew that these people were going to form a united front around this toxic individual. And I knew that my instinct was right to get out of Nigeria. That really and truly, Nigeria could not have contained all of us in that country there. Because these people would have used their might and their weight to literally...
And the chaos of that environment.
Exactly. They would have weaponized the chaos of Nigeria. Who in Nigeria would not lean into a patriarchal argument that... their last name, last, what is their last name? What can my parents really do? Do you get? Like, I knew how exposed I was in a country like Nigeria. And that's why I ran here.
Yeah. And you're one of the lucky few who has access to dual citizenship and can
Oh, God.
choose
True.
to take a stance somewhere that is more equitable.
The way I thank God that
For
it's not
women.
through this man that I became a citizen, because we'll not hear we'll not hear the last of that one now.
Don't even.
That would have been another one.
So, okay, so we left her talking about the meeting. So they finally show face, and as you were saying, it turns out to be a shit show. So, what are the highlights? And this will be, I guess, in a sense, hearsay because we weren't physically present. But I think you had mentioned earlier about wanting to get parents on here to
Honestly,
give
Toro,
a direct perspective.
Mommy and Daddy have to come on here. I don't know how I'm going to get them to do it, but they need to come on here and they need to say it. We need to hear from the horse's mouth everything that these people came there to display that day. But yeah, bottom line is they finally get there. Of course, they come with their chaos, with their madness. I'm actually surprised that they did not bring a member of their family. With all the noise of all the family that they had to go and bring, not one member of their family did they bring there. That's because, again, they were trying to manage their image with their larger family group there. So anyway, they show up to the house. They show up with their chaotic selves. They come into the home. And this senior Paulinos will not allow anybody talk. Okay, first of all, they even get there. Of course, maybe in their minds, they thought myself and the children were there. So they were, of course, trying to come there to find a way to collect us back, since in their minds we are their property. Because that's how the man talks. But of course, they now notice that I'm not there. So they now immediately stop Paulinos from entering into the house. They literally shout and like, hey, don't come inside. Oh, blah, 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 blah. So that one remains in the car. They now enter into the house. So, because again, can you see, it's about shielding this Paulinus. They did not want him to come there and answer for his crimes, where the man will be there stuttering. By the time they ask him one or two questions, he will not be able to put to do you get? Like, you could see that this was all about managing their image. It wasn't about them trying to take accountability. They get there, and this man is holding court. He would barely allow anybody talk or say anything or ask a question. Immediately, I take exception to that. I take exception to that. The guy was just there taking exception to every goddamn thing. Nobody could ask. Nobody could inquire into anything. Of course, at some point, would have to insist that my guy, you need to sit down and allow somebody talk and get a word out.
Your father-in-law's behavior at the meeting was essentially to just take up space and go off on like tangents and minutia and just not really allow any forward progress for what should have been really truly the content and the meat of the meeting.
It seemed like his plan there was to just derail the agenda. So that nothing will actually get spoken about. Each time we're trying to bring up an issue, like there's so many things we wanted to talk about. I mean, the itemized list, physical abuse, sexual abuse. But the moment we bring up the topic and be like, this is what my daughter has told me, he wouldn't want to hear it. He would not let the speaker actually get out their points. He will interrupt. Then he will not just interrupt, he will interrupt and hijack the conversation for a long time. We will have to wrestle the mic, so to speak, back from the man. Then he interrupts again, grabs it again. Like, it was difficult. An outsider looking in will have a difficult time following up on what is actually happening in that meeting, because this man was just so poorly behaved, so badly behaved.
Wow.
It really was reprehensible, in all honesty.
So that was how he chose to utilize his time at that meeting. And then so your mother-in-law at some point had some space to speak, and of what you heard.
Yes. So Paulinus's mom had the opportunity to speak. And the reason why she had the opportunity to speak is because my mom, you remember how I told you guys that in February 2020, this man was just terrible. The abuse I endured that night was crazy. So bad that I had to sit down and I had to write. I wrote everything out. The contemporaneous notes, of what happened to me that night. And I sent it to my mom for the first time. After I got to Canada is when I sent my mom those notes. And my mom broke down. So of course, in this meeting, my mom pulled out the notes and was reading it. And my mom was so disgusted to find out that this man's mother knew everything that happened because I told her everything. And this woman...
At the time that it happened.
At the time it happened. But this woman manipulated. First of all, the first thing she said to me was that I should grow up. That's what she said to me. You see, these women that uphold the patriarchy are... Honestly, fear them like you fear death because they are the worst. Her words to me were that I should grow up. And I think she could sense, because the silence was deafening. This was over the phone. She was not in the country at the time. But the silence was deafening. She took a double take. And, she first of all told me to grow up. She laid into me about how I'm immature and blah, blah, blah. And that this is what womanhood is about. I need to hold my home kind of rubbish. But she saw that didn't land with me. So the following time, she now called me. Then she took a different approach. She now manipulated me. She was now like, okay, that she apologizes for her initial reaction. And that, anything I want to do, if I want to tell my parents, I can go ahead and tell them that, anything I want to do, anything you want to do, just do. Of course, I felt bad because I'm just like, I don't want to embarrass this woman or his father or whatever if I tell my parents this kind of thing. There's so much that went into why I never spoke up to my own family when that incident happened. But of course, now at this meeting, my mom challenged her, like, you knew. You knew about it. So what is all this one that you people are coming here to do in our house now and acting like you don't know anything and whatever. You, yeah, mama, you knew. Oh yeah, now tell us. That is when the woman stood up. Because my mom had read out everything that had said, the names he had called me, how he had hit me multiple times. So the woman now jumped up and now started to, hey, Magbamio, that she doesn't, just try to paint this picture of, she doesn't know how she's getting dragged into this, so she doesn't know anything about it, that she has taken me as a daughter, that she doesn't know, she doesn't understand, that I've never told her anything, she has never heard anything before.
Just complete denial.
That, just blanket denial that even the little that I've ever told her, she had to force it out of me. She had to run to her daughters to go and hear about it first before I told her, which is a bloody lie. Which is a complete lie. I told her directly that this is what your son did to me. So, of course, she did all of that one day. Then, of course, like Senior Paulinus, she started going off on tangents, trying to paint the picture that, I've just been very paranoid that when I came back from Canada with my baby and I was invited to the house for their 4-hour interrogation, that I refused to drink a glass of water. She now went off on this long tangent that I'm just paranoid, or that maybe she's just trying to paint the picture that I was just this paranoid person, that I refuse to drink water, or that I think that they want to poison me and all that. Basically, I'm just mentally not okay kind of thing. But of course, nobody knew about any of this. So it was just weird. She just kind of derailed the meeting that way, as if, and try to make that the focus of the meeting, of which I was just very disgusted to hear. Because again, what was there? They gave me, in fact, I'm not even going to even dignify that nonsense. It was a bloody lie. I did not deny a cup of water because of anything about poisoning or whatever. My pregnancy hormones and everything. I just requested a bottle of water. Like drinking water from a glass cup was still very difficult for me, because sometimes the smell of a glass cup is like I could smell the tap water. So, and it was not personal to them. This is something I had a thing about water throughout my pregnancy, and she knew about it. So, but of course, it's this kind of thing where they know the actual truth, but then they're trying to paint a completely different picture just to scatter it for everybody. When you put up smokes and mirrors, just let's throw as much chaos into the mix so that nobody can actually follow the actual storyline and hold anybody accountable here, which is what they now try to do. But of course, they did not succeed because my parents believe me. And that is my parents, my whole family that was there, they believe me. And I'm just like the only people that need to believe me. The drama that they came there to display that day clearly didn't work. And so I'm just so glad about the family that I have, honestly. So that's just pretty much what happened.
So the whole time this meeting is going bananas, your ex hid, themselves there.
Paulinus. He's in the car.
They're just chilling in the car.
He's in the car. But of course, I'm told that, especially the Mama Paulinus herself, I think she had called in to him. So he was hearing through the phone everything that was happening there. Then at some point, I think, of course, we clearly could see that this meeting was going nowhere. So the meeting just kind of came to some sort of abrupt end kind of thing. It was like, okay, you know what? Let's try and attempt to just speak parents on parents. Let's leave the family that we brought, or the people, quote unquote, because they didn't bring their family, the people that they brought. Because it was getting chaotic, right? With everything that these people were doing. So the parents were talking. At some point, Paulinus comes, they request that he come into the mix. But before he even came in that meeting with the parents, of course, these people, they continued with their rubbish. Like, it was in that meeting that they were not saying their veiled threats that that we have information on Bebe, that we don't want, we're just holding tight, and now we don't want to release some damaging information about Bebe or about your family. So please, if whoever she is, tell her to come out and all that kind of stuff. That's when, like you already know, they were trying to talk about my brother and how my brother came to be, and that, this kind of information, they wouldn't want to release it and everything. And my parents were like, see, anything you want to do with that information, my brother is in his 20s. Like, anybody that doesn't know about my brother and how he came to be is grossly, what they call it, that person is living in the 90s. What are we talking about here? But of course, can you see how conniving and disgusting these people were? In the middle of something that they're supposed to be taking accountability for, they were still trying to issue veiled threats to my parents that, if you don't tell us where this girl is and the children are, that we will have no choice but to start talking about Baby's brother and how he ended up becoming a member of the family.
And how did he end up becoming a member of the family? What's all this mystery? Mystery.
There really is no mystery, because honestly, there's nobody that knows me that doesn't know this story, or knows our family that doesn't know this story. My mom did not give birth to my brother, but he grew up with us. So he has a separate mom. And of course, this is a huge hump that my family had to get through. And how my parents weathered that storm, we are all still suffering the after effects of it till today, but we shall came out of it standing. We are here. We love my brother loves us, and we're working through our issues as a family. But this is not something we've ever tried to conceal from the public about. It's not. So for these people in their arrogance to feel like these are people that, honestly, we don't know these people from anywhere. We don't, my parents and these guys don't run in the same circles. And let me tell you, my goodness, we thank God for that. They don't run in the same circle. So for them to think that it's now them that will, as they were plucked from wherever they were into my parents' circle, that is now them that will now be revealing to people that my parents know that my brother is from another mother.
But to even shamelessly wield so-called air quotes sensitive information as some kind of blackmail tool is just so gauche and just so base.
Exactly. And that's why I'm telling you that these people, and that's why for me, what I blame about why I spent so long in this relationship is I should have been painting all of them with the same brush. I kept on thinking that, no, is this particular Paulinus that is a problem? His family doesn't seem to be a problem. Yeah, I know that they're not perfect, but it is this Paulinus that is the problem. But I should have been painting all of them, because honestly and truly, usually when you see an abusive,
of the toxic,
exactly, when you see an abusive spirit like that, an abusive person like that, usually look at their family of origin. They're usually also coming from a very toxic family setup. And that's all I'm just going to say about that. So I should have been painting them all with the same brush, because that's what they came there to do now. But of course, Paulinus comes. But then what did we see? What did we end up hearing that the man did? About, you remember, about the shoe.
Right. I don't know, some kind of ritualistic, some kind of spell casting. Who even knows?
Yeah,
Juju.
so basically, the people that work at the house saw him. Before he entered into the house, the man removed his shoe. The Paulinus himself Because these people, they like to do like they are children of God and they are the only ones that know God and all of that. He removed his shoe and spat in it 3 times. Then he waited before he entered into the house.
Or something like that. So
No,
some
not something
blinking
like-
was involved as well. Or was it not on the way out? Was it not on his way out?
Or was it on his way out? I thought it was before he entered. Either way,
Regardless,
whether he was
just
entering
some
into the
kind
house
of-
or he was leaving the house, this man removed his shoe and spat in it 3 times, then wore it. Like, I don't, whatever it is, whatever diabolic thing they thought they were doing there, my own mom that sleeps with the anointing oil and anoints that house from morning to night is not going to work. That's one. But 2, my point is, can you see the shamelessness that one is confronting? And that just goes to show, guys, people, that honestly, my escape was necessary. Like if these people could have grabbed onto me, if I remained in that country, these people would have pissed me. Like, what is all this?
Yeah, just
so, but bottom
wild,
line, just from
straight
his
out the
body
gate.
language, you can see he was either coming there to intimidate someone with his diabolical ritual or whatever. But this is someone that is unrepentant. This is someone that is clearly not trying to take accountability. So that was just the body language. Like I said, it was a hot mess.
So the meeting went nowhere. Nothing came from
the meeting.
Came of it or anything. Before they had even showed up at the meeting, which was again about 10 days after you had initially left, they had already initiated some kind of, will I even call it bogus now? Initiated some kind of, I just over the top like legal action, which was essentially full of like outlandish claims and ridiculous and unnatural requests.
So, of course, in December, he served on my parents a divorce petition. But from the date, we saw that they had already gone to their home state, Ekiti, to go and file a divorce petition against me 3 days before they even showed up to that accountability meeting. In their divorce petition, it was just a pile of bullshit. He ran there to try and paint me as this unfit mother that doesn't care about her children, that is mentally unstable. I'm not saying he tried to paint. He put it there that I am mentally unstable because I had a therapist. He put that I'm mentally unstable. He puts my therapist's name there, that basically she's the one that is almost kind of just helping me hold on to life kind of thing. Which, of course, thankfully, she was able to refute. Bloody lie. He put that there. He tried to paint me as this person that didn't care about her children. I just wanted to be distant and away from them. Trying to lie to the courts when clearly the only times I ever left my children were to go and have a child in Canada. But he now tried to manipulate that fact that I was more concerned about being in Canada than being with my children, which was such a hot lie. Just full of half of manipulated facts, and he was just trying to scandalize me in front of the court. Then he went ahead to say that I am a bra-burning feminist, and for that reason, I'm a poor influence on the children. Then he also mentioned that I have renounced my faith and I am an atheist as well. And then finally, this is now the one that he was trying to really put his knockout, his KO. He said that I'm a member of the LGBTQ community.
And all these things that you've listed here are neutral and benign in and of themselves. However,
put together,
when you put them together and then you put them against the backdrop of like extremely conservative, extremely religious, sort of repressive environment / society like Nigeria, like that is essentially like putting a target on you and really, really just
it's trying to scandalize me.
Yes, trying to scandalize you, and ostracize you and make you a pariah.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Toro. But here's one thing I disagree when you say individually they're benign. In a country like Nigeria, individually, each one is actually a heavy blow.
That's actually true, right? Yeah.
Bra burning feminists, atheists, then member of the LGBTQ community. Let's not even talk about the mentally unstable. That one is on its own. That one that he had already painted. This is somebody that is trying to take children from their mother, because there's no sitting judge,
such hard line,
that would take a 4, 2, and breastfeeding 2-month-old away from their child, away from their mother. And so you can tell that was always his end game. I was correct. All their insinuations about postpartum depression, all their rubbish, all their bullshit, these people had been setting me up. This was always the end. And here's why I can never, to this day, respect that woman that is supposedly his mother. Because for a woman to attempt to devastate another woman like that, you're bullshit. I see right through you, and I will never forgive you. Ever. Ever. And the God that you claim you serve would never let you go scot-free on such a thing. Because in his court documents, the final lie was that his mother has been the primary caregiver of all my children and that I was never present. And this woman submitted all her certificates that she's a nurse, she's a midwife, and she's capable of taking care of all the children. This man requested for primary custody of my first 2 children, and for the last one, joint custody between himself and his mother. Tora, when I tell you that this is not a curse, I'm not cursing them, but God can never allow them. If they think it can be well with them, when they know that they are lying, that's all I'm going to say. I'm sorry, guys, I have to pause because I'm actually getting emotional. Like saying these things out to myself. These people are evil and vile. And I will never have anything to do with any of them. Ever. So that's what the guy wanted to go do. Of course, everything bullshit is one thing. Honestly, I would have felt much better if he actually had credible things to say. And, his grievances were actually okay. It's true. I mean, I would have loved the opportunity to introspect and be like, okay, here is where I made my mistakes or whatever, which I'm sure there were some mistakes that I made. And because nobody is perfect, but come on, not these lies. Not these lies. And whatever mistakes I may have made in this marriage, not compared to yours, like this is something that you should just have a bit of shame and just be like, okay, you know what? How do we move forward? But to see the length that they went to just try and muddy the waters and to just try and pull a fast one, because for them, it was never about me. I've just been a brooding hen. It's always been about the children. And so they were trying to turn me into collateral damage and take what was most important to them. But God saw them and God preempted them and God saved me and saved my children from their evil clutches. And that's why I will forever be grateful to God. Forever. Yeah, sorry guys, I got emotional there.
Wow.
I got emotional.
I mean, you don't need to apologize for that. It is a lot. It is a lot to contemplate. It's a lot to reflect on. It's a lot to articulate the horror of what it is for anybody, but especially another mother, to actively try to wrench another mother's kids from her, even knowing
falsehoods and
bearing false witness. And to think that somebody would betray you like that, it is a lot. So
that word you said there, betrayal, we're going to get into that on another episode. But that betrayal, especially with this woman, you guys cannot even begin to understand how how deep that runs, actually. Because if there's anybody that should have ever had my back here amongst his entire family, it should have been that woman. So, but bottom line, that's just how things happen there on the Nigerian front, which again, in stark contrast to what I was doing here in Canada. You know, me, I mentioned that I had gotten a lawyer. The only thing I was trying to determine here when I got my lawyer was just parenting time, because I just felt like, look, I can't leave this in the hands of Nigeria. I cannot remain in Nigeria and allow a Nigerian court decide anything. Not with the body language of this man, not with the threats of this man's father. It's not possible. Though. I need a neutral court that cannot be influenced by anybody's wealth, anybody's influence, anybody's whispering, anybody's diabolical, whatever, anybody's jazz. Hopefully, you can't transfer from Nigeria to Canada. That's just what I was thinking. But I was very open-minded. I was going to be as generous as possible. I was going to allow as much access as possible. I could envision a situation where the children are around his family and just as connected. Like I was not going to be this tense about their influence in the lives of my children. For me, they were never going to get close to me. But for the children, it's not fair. It's not my place to block them from his family or from him. I felt I was going to be as open to what the possibilities looked like for the future. But with the way these people have tried to malign me, with the way they've tried to scandalize me, and not with the truth, with lies, full-on lies that they know are lies, my goodness, like I can never be safe around them, and I can never trust that my children are safe around them. These people can do anything at all. If it means harming me, if the children, as they grow, because right now they're cute and cuddly, but as they grow up, as they're teenagers, as they become men, so is this how they too, if for some reason they don't toe whatever line you set for them, is this how you're also going to turn around and harm them like this? These people are not safe. They're not. And so I'm going to protect my children with my life, literally. And so these people had better know, and they better not allow my blood to be spilled on this. Because if it does, it's going to cry out like Abel, and God will not let them rest. So, in my own opinion, is just better for everybody to just be calming down, okay? And let this thing be resolved as best as it possibly can. But of course, I'm speaking like this because, again, like I mentioned, I'm still in the heat of things. Legally, this thing is whooping my butt, guys. This has not been an easy fight. It's been a tough one emotionally. It's been an expensive one on everyone I care about. And it's taking everything within me. But this is a fight that I can't back down from. And by God's grace, this is a fight that I will win.
He really dropped a lot of heavy stuff there, and I don't really have too much more to add to it, because it seemed very sincere and from the gut there.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, yeah. Every step of this saga is, of its own self, its own ordeal, whether it be from the deciding to leave, finally deciding to leave, how to leave, the operationalizing of leaving, the aftermath of it, and then, diving right into like legal protections and stuff. Every step of it is fraught with its own demands, emotionally, mentally, all that. Otherwise, again, all on top, stacked on top of being a primary caregiver now, all on your own for the first time ever, to 3 young individuals. So one would look back and be like, how am I even here still doing it? But you did all this. So just sometimes, it's good to take a step back and reflect in such a way that you can appreciate the progress that you've made and truly what you've poured into it, and the fact that you're still standing despite all of it and are still here. So again, I just keep saying it's very, very commendable and very courageous. So good on you for that. So yeah, I think that was a good place to wrap up for this episode. The next episode, I guess, we can now go a little more thoroughly into the content of the email and
line by line, just like bring up
right,
the
kind of
specifics.
fine-tooth comb it so that we can really paint the picture as to what that email was saying. Because, you know, when you put everything in succinct, concise language like that, sometimes it can almost like throw a veil on the true primal nature of the danger that one is in.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we can take that opportunity next time to really do a deeper dive into the email and what it entails and some of the events that lead into describing your experience as such.
Yeah, we will get into it. We definitely need a 360 view up until this point. And so I will work really hard to get my parents on. So that might actually be the follow-up episode.
Oh, right. Yes.
But if not, then we will now get into specifics. We'll get into the details. Like I mentioned, my mom read out contemporaneous notes from me. We will get into that too. Probably read that one out here too, so that people can hear and see. Because I'm doing this because people need to know. I find that with abuse, you've been spun 360 so many times. You don't even know what's up, what's down, what's good, you don't even know what is happening to you. It takes some major thing to actually pierce your delusion of what it is you think you're in a relationship with. And I say what to use to describe the individual, because a lot of people, they are in relationships with demons, I'm sorry to say. So honestly, it takes a lot because, again, they turn something beautiful, which is your love. You loved. That is the only thing you did. You loved. And it is your love that they poisoned. But your love was so strong, it didn't allow you to see the harm that this person was causing you. Oftentimes until it was too late. And I cannot again thank God enough for saving my life and for saving me, for saving my children from this hot mess. And so that's what we'll get into. I'm excited to do it because I'll be saying these things, some of them for the very first time, loud and clear, for you guys to hear, but for also myself to hear. And so it's very important. So thank you guys again for listening and for following me along on this journey. It's not easy listening to these things. And, you know, we will try to put out trigger warnings too as well. But
yeah, a lot of what we're discussing is very heavy content. I mean, I think it's a testament to a level of healing to be able to even speak about it so almost seemingly casually. But these are deeper and heavy issues that run the gamut of different populations of women across every strata. So it's very relatable as well. But as you've deemed it, authenticity warrior, I think it's good to speak about it as authentically as you can in whatever space you are in at the time that you are in. So if you're able to have enough of the clarity to speak about it with some joviality on it, I think that's a good step in your journey overall. But yeah.
All right then. Thank you guys. Bye.
Okay, bye.
My discernment about what I am facing has made me a target, but I must nonetheless speak up. Make no mistake, this is still a live and ongoing issue, and myself, my children, and loved ones continue to be in danger as a result of my coming forward with the truth. I want it on record that should any calamity befall any one of us, my abuser and his threatening family should be the first people held as persons of interest.
Authenticity Warrior is available everywhere you listen to podcasts and is at Authenticity Warrior across all social media platforms. Please feel free to like and share this podcast. Thanks for listening.